million other places you could have been, but you chose to come here tonight, so thank you for being here. I've been a member of PWAS for a number of years, and there's certain people in the room that have been a big influence upon me, and I wanted to acknowledge a few people without calling out names, but just once I describe what they've done for me, they will know who they are. I've been painting for a few years now. I think my first painting was done during the Eisenhower administration, so that gives you a little feel back where I started. My father painted; he was an oil painter, and I kind of grew up around it. And once I left the military, I was able to donate more time to my love of painting. Once I moved to this area about 30 years ago, it took me a few years before I was aware of PWAS. And once I became aware of PWAS, I was happy to join. When I joined PWAS, the only thing I knew about painting was that I loved to paint. I had never shown in a gallery. I knew what I wanted to put on the front of the painting, but on the back of the painting, as far as the hardware, the D-rings, things of that nature, I didn't know it. Before that, I was just using anything and everything. And the first time I was juried in to show at the space we had in the Potomac Town Center, I was told point blank, the back of your painting is not going to work. You don't have the proper hardware, you didn't paint the sides of your paintings, and it's not going to work. If you don't change it, it's not going to be any part of the show. That was kind of hard to hear, but it helped me tremendously. I really appreciate that. Also, when we were able to hang work in the gallery, there was another gentleman that was very instrumental in measuring the height, the width of the wall, and what pieces would work in a certain area. I really appreciate that. I also have a member here that I've told her on more than one occasion that if her paintings were edible, I would be the first one in line to eat them because they are so delicious. Some of my influences in painting, I'm a big fan of Mr. Jacob Miller. I'm sorry, Jacob Miller. That's a reggae artist. Jacob Lawrence. Big fan of Jacob Lawrence. And what I appreciate about Jacob Lawrence is, although he used all solid colors, every painting that I've seen of his tells a story. And a story that I can relate to in some form or fashion. Another artist that has a great influence on me is Mr. William H. Johnson. He uses a lot of bold colors, and in one or two of my paintings, I've dedicated certain elements of his style to those paintings. Same as with Mr. Jacob Lawrence. I've incorporated some of his influences on a few of my paintings. We've been very fortunate with this group because all of us have so much in common. We are all creative beings. And it's really great to be a part of this community where everybody is so creative. Everybody has a different style, and we can learn from each other, and I'm sure we have learned from each other. What I've learned is patience, cooperation, working together, how to show our display. We've had opportunities to show in different venues. I participated when we've shown down in Manassas. We've had exhibitions at the Open Space Art, which was a great learning experience for myself and show for many others. It was a way to promote art. I remember on several occasions I was standing out front, inviting people into the gallery, talking about the work. Once people came in, talking about the work. That's how I met Evelyn. She was roaming her streets aimlessly. And I directed her into the air-conditioned gallery. Look where she is now. Selling all kinds of things. You know. She called me about 3 weeks ago and said, "Can you do me a favor?" And I said, "Yes, I'll do you a favor." Then she said, "I want you to be the speaker at the PWAS meetings." I said yes because I love her and because I would do anything for her before I knew what she wanted me to do. But I think this is a great experience because if we're going to show our work and exhibit our work, we have to be able to talk about our work and talk about our influences and the type of work that we do. So what's showing above is a couple of paintings I've done over the years. And if I may,